Have you ever wondered if the ultra-wealthy guard a secret about how reality works? A secret so simple it was hidden in plain sight? In this video, we break down the three hidden laws of consciousness that secret societies borrowed and show you how to use them to reset your own reality. What I am about to share with you was never meant to reach the public, not because it is dangerous, not because it requires initiation, but because the moment ordinary people understand what the wealthy have always known, the invisible wall between those who have everything and those who struggle for scraps begins to dissolve. Secret societies have existed for thousands of years. They meet in private rooms behind closed doors with handshakes and passwords and elaborate ceremonies. Documentaries are made about rumors spread. People imagine flames and robes and mystery. But here is what those documentaries never tell you. The rituals they practice, the ones they guard so carefully, the ones passed from generation to generation inside the most powerful circles on earth, did not originate with them. They took them. They found fragments of a teaching so ancient, so precise, so radically simple, that they wrapped it in ceremony to make it look like something only the elite could access. They built lodges around it. They created hierarchies to protect it. They turned a law of consciousness into a privilege of membership. And today I am going to give you the source, not the ritual, the law behind the ritual, not the ceremony, the understanding that makes the ceremony unnecessary. My name is Abdullah, and this is what they stole. Stay with me because the third secret is the one that will change everything you thought you knew about why the wealthy seem to operate in a different reality from everyone else. Most people will never hear this explained the way I am about to explain it, and by the end you will understand why. But first, I need you to do something. In the comments below, write one word. Write the word reset. When you do, you will receive free access to the Manifest Reset Guide. It contains 5 simple but powerful shifts based on this very teaching that will help you feel the reality of your desire right now. Even when your circumstances are screaming the opposite, even when it feels forced, even when doubt is the loudest voice in the room, this is not just a comment, it is the beginning of something. Write reset below and get free access to the guide. Then come back, because what I'm about to tell you is the foundation of everything. Now, let me take you inside the 3 secrets. The first one is the one the Brotherhoods have been using for centuries without fully understanding where it came from or why it works. The Brotherhoods knew that words spoken in a certain way had power. They built rituals around this: incantations, repetitions, sacred phrases. They were not wrong that words carry power. They were simply wrong about why. They thought the power was in the ceremony. They thought the power was in the setting, the candles, the collective energy of a secret meeting. They thought you needed membership to access it. But the truth is this: the power was always in the inner sentence, not the words spoken out loud into a room full of robed figures. The words spoken quietly, repeatedly, privately inside the mind. The sentence you rehearse when no one is watching. The sentence you repeat at the edge of sleep. That sentence is the most powerful creative force available to any human being on this earth, and it costs nothing. It requires no initiation. It belongs to whoever chooses to use it. Let me give you a name: Robert Millikan. This man started with nothing, not modest means. Nothing. He came from poverty, no wealth behind him, no connections, no family name that opened any doors. What he had was a mind, and eventually the understanding of how that mind actually works. He was tired of his poverty, and so he did something extraordinarily precise. He constructed a sentence, not a wish, not an affirmation shouted at the ceiling, a sentence that, if it were true, would imply he was already the man he wanted to become. The sentence was this: I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. He did not say he was going to have it. He did not ask for it. He stated it as a present fact, and he repeated it internally, persistently, until his mind accepted it as true. Robert Millikan went on to become the head of the California Institute of Technology. He gave the world the discovery of cosmic rays. When he died, he left enough wealth behind to fund charities, to make his sons financially independent, and to leave a lasting mark on institutions that continue to this day. He was visited by presidents. He was celebrated by scientists across the world. And it all began with a poor young man and a single, carefully constructed inner sentence. The Brotherhoods knew about the power of words, but they put the power in the ceremony. The real power was always in the private, persistent, feeling-saturated inner sentence that a person carries through their day without ever announcing it to anyone. Now, here is where it gets even more interesting, because Robert Millikan's story is remarkable. But there is a second story from the same teaching that will show you exactly how this works when it is applied not to a career, but to a physical, material result. A young man born into a family that was, by every external measure, behind the eight ball, financially, socially, in every dimension that the world uses to calculate a person's prospects. They rented a building. They did not own it. There was no visible path by which they ever would. This man had encountered the teaching, and he did not take it to a ceremony. He did not join a lodge or seek initiation. He simply constructed a scene in his mind. When he would encounter anything that related to that building, when he would read something or think about it, he would simultaneously rehearse an inner scene in which the letters he was reading implied that the family already owned it. Not that they might own it one day, but that they owned it. Now, he let that inner reading, that imagined experience of ownership, replace the actual facts he was looking at. He did this persistently for 2 years. 2 years of holding an inner scene against the visible evidence of the world. 2 years of quietly, privately dwelling inside a reality that did not yet exist in the external world. At the end of those 2 years, the family owned the building. And from that moment forward, as Neville Goddard himself documented, they could not be stopped. They kept growing. They kept expanding. Because the man who had learned how to apply the law once never forgot how to apply it again. This is what the Brotherhoods turned into ceremony. This is what they encoded into ritual, into handshakes, into secret buildings where certain members were allowed to gather. They had observed across centuries that the people who held certain inner scenes consistently were the people who accumulated wealth and power. And so they built systems around that observation. But they missed the mechanism. The mechanism has nothing to do with the location where you sit, nothing to do with who was in the room with you, nothing to do with whether you were ever admitted to a private club or recognized by a member of any order. The mechanism is this: your inner conversation is the seed. The world you are walking through right now, is simply the harvest of the seeds you have been planting in your mind, persistently, day after day, whether consciously or not. The Brotherhoods would have you believe that this power is locked behind their doors. I am telling you that the only door it is locked behind is the one you open. Open every morning when you begin your day and choose what you will rehearse inside your own mind. Which brings me to the third secret. And this is the one that will separate everyone watching this from the people who read about the law without ever truly living it. There was a man on the island of Barbados. He was born poor. His wife was born poor. He had himself, his wife, and eventually 10 children to support. By every calculation of the world, this man had no prospects. He had nothing. At some point in his life, this man came across the understanding of inner conversation, not from a brotherhood, not from a secret society meeting, from the recognition through his own experience that what he rehearsed inwardly before he went out into the world was what the world gave back to him. And so he created a practice. Every morning after breakfast, this man would recline in his chair. To anyone watching, he appeared to be resting, perhaps sleeping. He was not sleeping. He was working. He would bring before his mind's eye the people he expected to deal with that day, the men he would meet, the negotiations or conversations he would enter, and he would control those imagined conversations completely. He would tell them inside his own mind exactly what he needed to tell them. He would let them confirm back to him that it was so. He would not leave that inner scene until he was completely satisfied that the outcome had been established inside his imagination. Only then would he go out to meet the day. That was his ritual, every morning, not in a private room with other members, not with any ceremony or sacred object, in an ordinary chair alone in complete control of his inner world before he ever stepped into the outer one. When that man died in 1959, he left behind 10 children, each one independently wealthy, not collectively, Each one individually had been given a block of stock that by 1951 was already equal to an independent income. By the time he passed, it had tripled. That poor man from Barbados, the one who had nothing, left behind a legacy that continued to grow and expand under the hands of the children he left it to. This is the morning work, not a ceremony you attend, but a discipline you practice, a daily, private appointment with the inner world that precedes the outer one. Every wealthy family that has sustained its wealth across generations, every individual who rose from nothing to build something real, they all share this characteristic, whether they know the principle by name or not. They rehearse internally what they want to be true externally. They do not wait for the world to give them evidence before they adopt the feeling of the thing they desire. They adopt the feeling first, and the world, in time,